Okay, so what we're looking at today is quadratic inequalities. Are they a little technical? Yes. Will they cause some students a little bit of issue? Yes, for two reasons. One, they're a little technical, and two, here go conjunctions and disjunctions again. So again, here the point is, you could say, oh, I never get those conjunctions and disjunctions. Okay, go back to HES math class and watch the Algebra 1 video on conjunctions and disjunctions. Well, I'll take all the time and I'll explain it fully and get it down because it just keeps coming up again and again. But again, you got to put those two things together. You got to put together the aspects of a little bit of technical aspect to it and then conjunction, disjunction. If we can keep that straight, you'll be okay. This is one thing I do not cover in the review video because I knew it was a lesson right before doing it, and plus it would take time. All right, what do you got to do? Manipulate the inequality to get 0 to the right of the inequality symbol. That's really important. Let me see if I can make a connection for you guys. You don't need to write this, but if we were solving inequalities, and maybe you don't write this, maybe you got down to something like, I'm trying to think of the scenario here. If it was something like x, oh, I remember, absolute value inequality. Something like x, absolute value of x minus 2 greater than 0. What kind of solution would that be? A conjunction or a disjunction? Do you remember? That's a disjunction. Okay. And if it would have been something like this, and really all that matters is the direction of the symbol, and this might not even be 0, this might be a number, who knows, right, numbers. And if it was less than, then it would be a conjunction. All right, thankfully math is orderly, and that's still going to apply to what we are doing. But in these, you can't really read the symbol until everything's set equal to 0. In a lot of cases, the symbol won't change, but in a few it does. And so, first off, set the thing with 0 on the right-hand side to the right of the inequality symbol. Once you're done doing that, now you're set up to figure out what's going on. All right, if the resulting quadratic can be written as the product of two factors, that probably doesn't mean a whole lot to you. Let me put it this way for you. Let's suppose you were just solving a quadratic equation. Disregard the inequality symbol. Remember, there are three ways to solve, right? You can factor it, you can take the square root of both sides, or you can use the quadratic equation. In this line of thought, treat it as if you're factoring it to solve it. That's what I mean by the product of factors, okay? So treat it as if you're factoring it to solve it. That's how you start. However, this is where it gets a little technical. There are two roads you can go down. Two different roads you can go down. The first road is if the inequality symbol points to the right. It's a greater than or equal to. The point is the inequality symbol is pointing to the right. And by the way, if something's greater than or equal to, if it's greater than 0, this is going to be some positive number, right? You know what? I don't even think I want to go that route. I don't want to confuse you. All right, just remember greater than 0. All right, so what is the situation then? Here's the reality. P and Q have the same sign, same, let me get rid of sign and say symbol direction. That's a better way to say it. Have the same symbol direction. And to solve, we're going to do the symbol direction to the right and the symbol direction to the left. The bottom line point is this blank. It is a disjunction. And we're going to read our solution like we read disjunction solutions. Okay, I'll try to show you that in a minute. Second scenario, of course, is if the symbol goes the other way, right? Less than. Then P and Q have opposite symbol directions. Opposite symbol directions. So look right below number 2, and look, that one's going left and that one's going right. And on the second set, that one's going right and that one's going left. See how they're opposites? That's what I mean by that. Okay, again, we'll do one of those in a minute. And bottom line, this one is a conjunction. Conjunction. Okay, so we got conjunctions and we got disjunctions. And we've got to split it up into these products of factors. Let's see if we can make heads or tails out of what's going on. First example. I need to go higher. Okay, so first off, we got to look at this thing, and we got to say we got to set it equal to 0. To save room, I'm going to go out to the right here. So x squared minus 5x plus 6 is greater than 0. Right, just added a positive 6 to both sides. Everybody okay with that? Now I'm going to read my symbol. And I'm going to conclude this is a disjunction. Your brain has to say that or you have no hope. If your brain doesn't say disjunction at that point, quite frankly, you know what? You might as well not bother with the rest of the problem, and you might as well just go do stuff you know, because you're just going to waste your time. So at that point, if your brain doesn't say disjunction, you're just wasting your time pretty much. Okay? You got to know that. Because now that's going to set up the way you're going to go about solving this thing. We do want to factor it, though. So we'll factor it, and this can be blue here. X and X. My back term is positive and my middle term is negative, meaning I got to do negative times a negative. There's no other possibility. I got -1, -6. That does not give me a -5 in the middle. However, -3 there and -2 there, or -3 in the front, -2 in the back does, right? And hopefully you agree that's the factoring. Okay, so we've got that factoring, and that's good, and we're happy with that. Everybody okay so far? Now we have to put this into practice. We have to get 2 sets of 2 from the factors. Okay? This P just represents the first parentheses, and the Q represents the second parentheses. And we'll have one set where the symbol goes in the same direction, right or left, and then the other set, they go in the same direction the opposite way. To be honest with you, if I would have written this today instead of like 5 months ago or 4 months ago when I wrote them, I would do the left ones first and the right ones second. So when I solve it, I'm going to do less thans first and greater than second, and hopefully I can explain why when we're done doing the example. All right, so let's go back. Okay, I don't know where I'm at now. Come back to life. Thank you. Let me just leave that there. Okay, so first off, we've got to take that first factor, x minus 2, and again, I'm going to use the less than first and go less than 0. Go a little higher for you guys. And then I'm going to take the x minus 3 and go the same direction, less than 0. I'm going to do the second set in black, and then you have the or part. And now I'm going to do the x minus 2 and go greater than 0, same direction, x minus 3, greater than 0. 2 sets. And I'm going to end up with 4 inequalities. Okay, the first one's easy. You get x less than 2. The second one, you get x less than 3. The third one, you get x greater than 2. And the fourth one, you get x greater than 3. Is everybody okay so far? And again, you guys are horrible in that you never ask questions. So if you're lost, you're lost. And everything else I say is going to be of no use to you whatsoever, because you have no idea what I'm talking about already. Therefore, how in the world can you understand what I'm going to say next? So are there any questions? No. Okay. Because I'm the greatest teacher in the world and everybody understands perfectly. Yeah, right. Okay. Whatever. I don't know if you guys will ever get over it, but I'm telling you, it is bad. Okay, so here's basically how we're going to conclude this. Disjunctions. Two inequalities joined by the word or, where the solution is the union. Union. The way these generally turn out on the disjunctions is the low value and the high value. There are only two heading left, and this is why I put the order this way. X less than 2 is lower to the left of x less than 3, is it not? Think and picture the inequality in your mind. And x greater than 2 isn't the furthest one right. X greater than 3 is the furthest one right. Solution, x less than 2 or x greater than 3. That's the solution to the quadratic inequality, a disjunction. Real quick check, and again, our time is getting away very, very quickly. Look, basically, if I were to graph this, circle over the 2, arrow to the left, circle over the 3, arrow to the right. Meaning any value less than 2 should work, any value greater than 3 should work. If you want to, you can check these by putting that value back in the original. Do you agree 0 is less than 2? Put 0 in. 0, 0 is 0 greater than -6. True? That's true. That one worked. Let's put a value bigger. All right, we're already high, so let's go 5. 5 squared is 25. -5 times 5 is a -25. You get 0. Is 0 greater than -6? Yes, and every other value. Now, by the way, you can stick a middle value here and see if it doesn't work. What's in here? 2 is easy because 2 is not included. 2 squared is 4. -5 times 2 is a -10. 4 minus 10 is -6. Is -6 greater than -6? No. And that doesn't work. And so, yeah, we're right. But again, the ones we're giving you, low value, high value on disjunctions, use the word or. Little technical. Got to understand conjunctions, disjunctions. Let's do the next one. All right, it's already in the right form, thankfully. Read your symbol. Conjunction. Let's see if we can factor it and get two products. Three x and x. Okay, again, I'm looking at that positive 5 in the middle is always what I'm keeping in mind. And here my mind says if I put a +2 there, my outers are a 6x, are they not? And my inners is the -1, and 6 positives and 1 negatives gives me 5x in the middle, right? So I got the factoring correct. Okay, how do you get the two sets in your conjunctions? Remember, the symbols have to go opposite directions. I'm an orderly kind of guy. I'm going to go 3x minus 1, and I'm going to start less than or equal to 0. Therefore, the x plus 2 must be what? It's got to be greater than or equal to 0. We're doing a conjunction. It's different than the disjunction. The conjunction, look, they go opposite. One way, one the other. Okay? One way, one the other. So back down. And then we got to do our blacks. 3x minus 1. Now look, I can't go left again. I already have a 3x minus 1 less than or equal to 0. So I got to go greater than or equal to 0 this time. And now my x plus 2 will go the opposite direction. Less than or equal to 0. There are my 4 inequalities. Okay, notice the symbols go opposite directions both times. Luke. Yep. Yeah. The quadratic equation is possible, but then everything gets a little bit complex from the quadratic equation. Remember, you still end up with 2 roots from the quadratic equation. It's just the format's kind of hard to deal with because it's x equal. So it's tricky, and we're not going to give them to you yet. Maybe advanced math, maybe calculus, but we're not going to fool with them. Okay, let's finish. Move the negative 1, move the 3. X less than or equal to 1/3. Second one, move the 2. X greater than or equal to negative 2. Third one, move the negative 1, move the 3. X greater than or equal to 1/3. Fourth one, move the negative 2. X less than or equal to negative 2. The type of solutions to these are going to be where the conjunctions are going in opposite directions and overlap. It's going to give you an interval in the middle. So what we need to find is we need to find the interval in the middle that's going to allow these to overlap. So we need the interval in the middle that's going to allow these to overlap. So I'm looking at this. I'm looking at that value of that highest amount. So here, let me go back and tell you what I'm thinking. Okay, first off, look at the values. 1/3, negative 2, 1/3, negative 2. Out of those 4 values, the highest ones are the negative 1 or the positive 1/3. Agreed? 1/3 the highest values of those. When I'm thinking of a conjunction, I need this highest value to go that way, do I not? To get the interval? So therefore, of the 2 1/3, which one is the one that goes to the left? That one, right? You follow? This has to be the 1/3 right here. Has to be. Again, I know this is technical. But I looked at the highest values. Now if I do the lowest values, I'm going to do it in black just so it stands out. Now I look at the negative 2's. Again, I know the negative 2 is the left-hand side, and I need that one to head to the right. So which one heads to the right? That one. And therefore now I need to put these 2 together in the solution. Do you remember how we did it? We always took the high value, we wrote it just as it was. Took the lowest value, put it in front, and reversed its symbol. And that's the conjunction. So how am I choosing? I'm choosing the 2 that will overlap and give me that middle. That's what I'm choosing, because it's the interval in the middle. So we'll do both of these one more time, because I know one time isn't enough. So let's try a couple more. Where did my page go? I bet I erased it when I did all that back stuff. Okay, what do we got here? Come on, optimize, homogenize. Writing is ginormous. Okay, so number 3. So you look at this, first thought. What's your first thought? Say it if you know it. Get the 0 on the right. Okay, so that's pretty simplistic. Let's move the 7x to the left. Let's move the 3 to the left. Then you might say, hey, if I move the 6x squared to the other side, then I only have to move one thing. Do not put the 0 on the left. You'll just mess your brain up. Okay? Unless your brain is very, very organized, then you can do whatever you want. Okay? Okay, we're in the right form, right? What are you going to do next? What are you going to do next? Determine if it's a disjunction. So which is this one? Disjunction. You got to do that next. You could if you wanted to factor next and then determine that, but it's got to be either now or after you factor. Okay, so now we got a factor. And by the way, a 6 can give me 6 and 1 or 3 and 2, right? So be careful. 6 and 1, 3 and 2. Here, I'll help you out. It's a 3 and a 2. But there's two possibilities there, right? 6 and 1, 3 and 2. Again, what are you after? -7 in the middle. If you're a good factor, you got it already, right? Again, I always look at the back term because I'm thinking outers plus inners. All right, if I put the 3 there, that gives me a 9, right? And the 1 there gives me a 2. A 9 and a 2 can get me to 7, right? And what do I need? I need 7 negatives. I need the 9s to be negative and the 2 to be positive. And now I've got that thing factored. Okay, disjunction. Your two pairs. Your symbols go the same direction in the first set, and then it'll be the other same direction in the second set. Again, I think it's better if you go less than first. So 3x plus 1 less than or equal to 0. 2x minus 3 less than or equal to 0. Right? Second set, do the greater than. 3x plus 1 greater than or equal to 0. 2x minus 3 greater than or equal to 0. Solve those four inequalities. I'm not going to talk. If you need to look up, but just go ahead and do it yourself. So 1 there. Final answer. Let me talk you through the final answer. So again, one more time, I need the lowest. The lowest will be either this one or this one, but obviously the lowest is the less than symbol, right? So again, you can look at it out of these two, which one is the lowest? The negative 1/3. Which one is the highest? Remember, on these, you're always using the word or, greater than or equal to 3/2. And that's the disjunction. Again, if you do 3 or 4, you can begin to get it down. If you're an idiot, you don't do any homework, lots of luck, Charlie. Because your brain ain't never going to remember. Okay. Lowest and highest, because again, they're opposite directions. Questions? Questions? And again, if I had more time, I'd check the answers. But remember, on a quiz or test or ACT, SAT, you really got to wait until you're done with everything before you go back and check something like that. Okay, last one here. Move the 49, right? Again, for me, I like to read the solution at this point. conjunction. Everybody's looking the factor, and you say, oh, it's a difference of two squares. Two parentheses. Plus in the middle of one, minus in the middle of the other. Square root of the first, first. Square root of the last, last. Voila. We are there. So remember, conjunction, in your sets of two, your symbols are opposite. So I got an n plus 7. If I go less than 0, I got to do the n minus 7 as greater than 0, right? I got to go opposite. And therefore, my second set, the n plus 7, now has to be greater than. So the n minus 7 is now less than. Got to go both. We're doing all the possibilities of what we're doing so we can figure out the final answer. All right, so solve your little inequalities. Low value is -7, high value 7. Agreed? Because of the kind of conjunctions we're doing, we know that's got to be the solution, correct? So therefore, which one is the one with the -7? Which one, which inequality? Hunter? It's got to be that one because this has to be that way going in that direction, right? And which one's got to be the one with the 7? It's got to be this one because it's got to be going that way, right? It's the only way you get the interval. Now remember how to put those two together. Piece of cake. It's easy. Fun. 20 of those on the test Tuesday. Probably a couple. Okay. Questions? All right. Hope you have your notes with you. Follow. Use the book as well if you need it. It'll help you. Hey, if you're going to do something major, you're going to have to do it over the weekend because the test is Tuesday. So do what you got to do to ensure you're ready on Tuesday.